Hey guys, all right, so today we're going to talk about why the whisper technique works for some people but not others. I'm going to really break this down and help you understand how to get what you want, and that not always these really simple things work for everyone, but it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, and it doesn't mean that you still can't manifest the life of your fucking dreams. So stay tuned. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hey everyone, I am Kim Velez, a conscious life and success coach. And on this channel, I am so happy to share everything I know from not only my background as a licensed mental health therapist, dealing with over a decade of working with people who suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, addictions, and all kinds of things, but also as a woman who really jumped into spirituality and graduated from law of attraction to law of assumption, really learning and understanding the powerful concepts of everyone is you pushed out, recreating specific persons. I have personally manifested in any specific person I've ever wanted multiple times, and it's understanding that that is very easy to do, but it's when you're triggered, when you have a belief system that's programmed, that keeps you from sustaining what you want. This goes with wealth. This is about, your love life, any area of your life where you're not manifesting the desired outcome, or you manifest it in, but then it flees immediately or shortly after. So this is where you're going to learn all the tips and tricks and realness of what it takes to become the version of you that is someone different, so that you are the version and the wish fulfilled. This is what up-leveling your life is. This is why it requires uncomfortability, because you got to think different, you got to be different, and therefore you will then start receiving something different. In the interim, as you're receiving it and you're not fully there yet, you'll see yourself triggered, you'll see your old story playing, and so much more. So this is where you're going to learn it all, the truth. There's no gimmicks. And I'm really happy to have you with me today. So if you're new, please like, share, and subscribe. So before I jump into this, I want to remind you that if you did not take the opportunity that I talked about last week, I think it was last Monday's video about manifesting your specific person back monthly coaching group, the promo pricing with the bonuses that I included, I decided to extend it for another week. I did up the price because I wanted to honor what I had told people a week ago. So it did go up a little bit more, but it's still cheaper than if you are buying it not during the promotional period. So if you want to learn more and understand what's involved, I have released all my new Goddess Effect podcast episodes in there. For those of you that love my podcast, this is where you can find it going forward. I'm no longer doing it on a free platform. So the only way you're going to get the new episodes, which I upload about once a month, and they are anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour long. And I also include a really good worksheet to go along with the podcast, so you can pause and you can start implementing this and really start processing it differently in your brain than just listening constantly. So I'm really excited about this. So if it sounds interesting to you, there's other bonuses as well. Definitely click the link below and learn more about this coaching group and snag it in this promo price. You can cancel anytime. I don't make people like, oh, you have to stay, committed for like 3 months or 6 months. No. You sign up. If you're like, you know what, I really don't want to do this, you just email us that you want to cancel, and we'll cancel your subscription, and you won't be billed going forward. So really easy, super fun. I have such amazing people in there, and we have a blast every month when we meet on Zoom. All right, so let's talk about, why does the whisper technique work for some and not work for others? I'm still struggling with this lingering cold. I'm getting better, but my voice doesn't sound it, and I have a headache. But we'll get it together, right, guys? Why do some people manifest with just using a whisper technique while others don't? What is the whisper technique? Well, it's a little bit different. I personally first learned it from Agnes Vivarelli. I think a lot of people learned it from her and then copied it all over, especially on TikTok and definitely YouTube. But that's where I was first aware of what this technique was. There's a couple ways you can do it. So the way I learned from Agnes Vivarelli was, seeing your person, visualizing in your brain what you want them to say to you. So you see them in your mind. I promise I'm going to make sense of this. You see them in your mind, and then you go to them in the visualization and you whisper in their ear what you want them to say to you. Okay, what you want them to think about you. So that is one way to do it. There's so many other ways you can do it. It's really up to you. So I know other people say just think this thought, a light thought where you're just like, thank you that this is resolved today. That's not really the whisper technique, but it's still just a very generic way to calm your mind down and not, be frantic over how am I going to figure out the solution to something, right? So either way, why does this work for some people and for others it doesn't? Well, we have to understand that your thoughts create your reality and your beliefs are the dominant way that you see things. So if you believe you're not good enough, if you believe something is hard, if you believe someone won't change, that will trump and supersede over you thinking a little random thought once or twice a day that, you do this visualization technique and then your SP doesn't say it back to you ever. Or you, say things like everything's working out in my favor, but it's not, right? I mean, that's another form of doing a very general blanket statement over a lot of things when you're manifesting. Now, why does that work for some people and not others? Well, because again, your beliefs, right? So if you're constantly thinking and noticing all day and being that version of you that is worried about this situation, that is stressed out about this situation, that the dominant thoughts when you think of it is not what you desire, then that will trump you getting what you want. Now, I know I had definitely manifested in visualizations and using the whisper technique years ago, and I manifested the scene in, no problem. And sometimes I didn't manifest it in, but the thing that I noticed, whether I manifested it in or not, is even when I manifested it exactly to a fucking T of what I whispered in his ear, I was not able to sustain the momentum for me to enjoy a favorable connection with him, because I still had a shitty self-concept that wasn't programmed, and I still was very anxious and insecure and doubting and trusting that this person would actually see me the way that I wanted him to see me because of how I saw myself. What I've noticed is the ones that are teaching, some of these things where they're just kind of saying that, they're not explaining to you why it's not working. They're not really understanding that sometimes that isn't enough because all day long your thoughts are going against it and it's the opposite. And that's why you're not manifesting in 24 hours. That's why you're not manifesting in 3 days. That's why your self-concept is not on point. That's why you haven't changed the story of you. So you still feel like shit when your specific person's in, or you're manifesting in money. And then now you're nervous and scared that you're going to lose the money, or you feel guilty because you have all this money now. And that's your dominant state. If that, if all these things are going on, then these techniques won't work sometimes, or even if they do, you won't sustain. I manifested in a lot of visualizations that I have visualized, right? I have done that a lot. But again, it didn't mean shit if I manifest my specific person saying something to me and then it went to shit right after, basically. And that's the whole point of this. This is why there's nothing wrong with visualizing. There's nothing wrong with techniques. But I think people really need to kind of understand too that, hey, this is why it's not working if you're not getting what you want, and that isn't enough sometimes. Sometimes it is. Sometimes if you don't have this dominant programming that's pre-programmed in you from childhood that is going against what you want, and you do not believe, more in that old programming that is not favorable, like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I never get chosen, the people in my life leave me, I'm not special enough, I'm not loved, whatever that shitty story is, right? Then if you're not believing that, if you don't have that programmed in you, then this is why our thoughts manifest really fast. This is what I talk about all the time on this channel, that it's really easy to manifest when you don't have an opposing fucking story all day in your brain that is constantly bombarding you and going against what you want. So this is why Neville was really clear in all of his teachings. If you master your mind, you can lay to rest any and all techniques. So basically, if you like the whisper technique, do it. If you like any technique, do it. But pay attention throughout the day to what's going on with your mind. Because again, the reason why people don't sustain the life of their dreams or up level it, or they end up settling, or they don't even manifest what they want at all, or they manifested it and then it goes back to shit, is because there's no change within them. And I did, that video with the quote from Neville last week, where if you didn't see it, you should definitely watch it, because Neville's really clear about the importance of self-concept, especially when it comes to manifesting a specific person, but really anything. He was talking about recreating anyone. So really, manifesting a specific person, whether it's romantic, a friend, a parent, a coworker, your boss, your fucking neighbor, it doesn't matter. So here is the quote from Neville. Again, I'll link the video below in case you didn't see it from last week. Go watch it, because the whole video is about this quote. So it says, "I thought I could change others through effort. Now I know I cannot change another unless I first change myself. To change another within my world, I must first change my concept of that other. And to do it best, I change my concept of self. For it was the concept I held of self that made me see others as I did." And that is true. And I know that from my own case with my specific person, that when I can't see him differently, or when I couldn't see him differently and I just kept seeing him and expecting that old version, it really was tying into, one, I was used to that, but the majority of it was I still had self-concept work to do, because if you really feel good about who you are and know your worth and value, then you would understand that your specific person would easily change and step up to the plate to rise to the occasion to be with you because of how amazing you are. So they wouldn't let that opportunity pass them by. And you would trust in that and know in that, and you wouldn't even need that from the 3D. And then you would allow the reality to unfold, knowing one day they will show up being that version. So these things are really important, but I don't want to get off topic on that. I did a little bit, but a link is below if you want to watch the video. But definitely don't beat yourself up if you're doing some of these whisper techniques or saying general statements and it's just not coming in. Because a lot of people do this too when they're like, everything's working out for me, but it's not. Well, sometimes that's just the old reality playing out, but it's like, check in with you, because what you're sensing in your body is indicator of what subconsciously is still playing dominantly in you. So I know for me, I'm very in tune with how I feel because I observe my mind all the time, and I've been in such a state for a while now, a really long time, where I'm in such peace when it comes to SP and every other area of my life, that the minute I feel anxiety, the minute I start worrying about something, I can feel it like this. I don't like it because it's not my normal state. So I pick up on it much more quickly. And then I just go within, I take deep breaths, I go within, and I start reminding myself everything's okay. And then I pay even more attention to whatever the issue is that I'm being insecure about or nervous about or worried about, because that means I'm hyper focusing on it in the background of my mind, even if I'm not aware of it. And I'm believing in that shitty story more than I'm believing in that it's going to solve itself. It's going to resolve itself. It's going to be okay. It's going to turn on its head in my favor. It's already unfolding in my favor, right? Whatever you want to say. So that is what really helps me and gets me back on point really, really fast. But the way to do that is to understand you and where your brain's going and pay attention to your mind and how your body's feeling, because your thoughts create your feelings. So if you're feeling insecure, if you're feeling negative emotions, or it's still the old way you've been, like not feeling good enough, feeling rejected, feeling unloved, that shitty old self-concept, then all that's letting you know is that the dominant programming is still the old story. So you have to keep reprogramming your mind. You have to train your brain to focus differently. So if that's what's going on with you more than you being in a state where you are in dominantly peaceful and relaxed and trusting and knowing that what you want is yours, then you probably aren't going to manifest in the whisper technique. Or if you do, it's going to go to shit right after. So it's okay. This is how you learn. This is why it's important to reprogram your mind. This is why it isn't simply enough to just do a technique once in a while with certain things if your belief system says otherwise. If you have a neutral belief system or you don't really care, there's no credence, there's no investment in you saying, oh my God, I gotta fucking have this right now because if I don't, it means something negative about me, right? That's why we want something when we want it. And if you don't really have that, then yeah, these techniques will definitely work for you because there is no old story that is blocking the fucking way, so to speak. All right, so I hope you found this video helpful. Sorry if I was a little scattered. I'm dealing with this, whatever it is, I don't know, cold, whatever, but I am healing and getting better, so I will be more quick-witted as I usually am. All right, guys, bye.